So we need to also work towards making our nation more strong and better. So keeping that in mind, I welcome you again to this annual day e-celebration. Now, what do we know about an e-celebration, students? What is your experience about an e-celebration so far? Could you share with us what your experience has been about any kind of online learning and the kind of education that you have received? You have made, school authorities have ensured that you have not missed out on any of the learning that we have been doing in the past few months. So I think many of you would like to share something about it also, and that's very important. Now, first of all, I mean, as I recollect, the last year was the 50th year of completion of the school. And there was a very grand celebration which was held in the school grounds, and it was a wonderful experience. I was also part of it, and I'm very privileged to say that I was part of it. And in that particular event, we had everyone joining together, putting in their combined efforts, and it was a wonderful showcasing of the talent as well as the hard work of the teachers, the students, the people who organized it, the school management. They spared no expenses, as well as they made sure that a very good show was brought up. Now, this journey of 50 years has continued even in this time of lockdown. It hasn't stopped. We have just changed the format because of restrictions. And today I find that students have also risen to the occasion. Our students have been constantly working hard, submitting their assignments online, and excelling in whatever they are doing. So we have made sure that learning did not come to a stop. It has been challenging, no doubt. I, for one, was not very technologically sound, yet I have learned so much. So any kind of situation, remember this, students, always, that it gives you an opportunity to become stronger, to improve yourself, perhaps to change your methods also of learning. So on that note, I would request you all to start with whatever you would like to say. I know some children have been asked to prepare something, and so we will start with Unnati. Unnati, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Unnati. What would you like to share with us on this occasion of your school annual day?
Ma'am, differing interaction between teachers and students.
Yeah, sure. Please continue.
With the help of online educational programs, the interaction between teachers and students have undergone a fundamental shift. There are advocates on both sides of this matter, with some saying this change is for better and others saying it's for worse. Perhaps the most helpful position to take is that this change is neither wholly negative nor entirely positive, and instead has both pros and cons.
Okay. Yes, I know. We've had only online learning. So thank you, Unnati, for sharing this with us. Now I would like to welcome Sneha. Sneha has joined us this year in her class 11. And Sneha would like to share some of her views, how and her opinions and thoughts on what she felt was different in this year, as well as how she feels about her school. Yes, Sneha, over to you.
I'm glad to have a chance to present here to show my gratitude to all who are present. I have faced many different teachers till now and there will be more in future, but one quality that I always have noticed in every teacher is that they think for my own good, support me and guide me and try to keep me on the right path. My teachers have always been guiding me and they do so now too, and I'm sure they'll keep guiding us until we become independent and can stand on our own 2 feet until we can make our own judgments. Also, keep a check on my path where I'm heading and try to correct me when I'm wrong and help me however they can. I always will end every way possible. Thank you, teachers, for teaching and guiding me, and classmates for helping and supporting me. Thank you, and I hope our next year would be great too. Thank you.
Thank you, Sneha. Thank you for sharing these thoughts. Now we have Uday.
Ma'am, I have to recite a poem on online classes.
Okay, that's interesting. Yes.
Ma'am, online classes. He logged in, she logged out. Check your device is the biggest shout. Ma'am, there was a problem with my network, so I couldn't do my homework. Ma'am, you can't be heard. You can't be seen. Someone screaming on the screen. Teacher says there are many ways. Turn off your audio, turn on your video. It will help if you mute yourself. I love my classroom on the Zoom. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Uday. That's a very poetic expression of online experiences. And I'm sure we can all understand how we all coped with different network issues and things like that. Now we have with us Vibhor. Vibhor, we would like to hear what you have to say on the online as well as the occasion of our school annual day.
Good morning to everyone. We have been studying history in our school curriculum and studied how our leaders did in time of crisis when they were supposed to act for their brothers and sisters as a human or as a citizen of the country. For me, this time is worrying for me as for others, but at the same time, I experienced some of the things which were difficult to imagine living in a city. I could see numerous stars twinkling in the night sky, and the first time I saw a rainbow in the sky. This number, double 20, brought troubles and unwanted situations to us. Everyone was affected in some way or the other. Actions of our leaders and experts influenced the situation and took necessary steps as they were thought was right. Past is therefore we learn from our mistakes. We live in the history of our future generation. It's better we learn from past, we stand where we are and move towards better. This time is not better not for us, but for others whom we share this planet. I could remember tiny plants planted around the school playground last year. Half of them died last year, but a few days back, when I was there, those plants have turned green and bushy, which would have destroyed if we had played there. School teaches us how to solve the problems, which gives strength for anyone acting in real life and facing disaster problems. These situations have taught us that irrespective of development and technological advancement, we have to sit where are challenging to us. School teaching has taught to accept those challenges, face them, and have victory over them. As a human, we always try to reach the best and nurture our curiosity. But as we move ahead, there is a long way ahead. Living in peace with others is the thing we must never forget.
That's true. Very important to remember these valuable points, what has been shared with us right now. And that is that we should learn to live in peace with each other and also to avoid conflict. And as Vibhor said, even I was surprised during the lockdown to see a rainbow, something which we had not seen for a very long time because of pollution. But it took a lockdown to understand and appreciate nature, to appreciate the gifts that we have, something which we have taken for granted. For example, the air we breathe in places like Delhi and NCR, where we see that there is so much of pollution. The lockdown was definitely a relief because we could breathe better. We could perhaps even uh, see more things more clearly. It was just unbelievable. The lockdown really opened my eyes as well. So yes, I share in your experience and I appreciate it. So thank you, Vibhor, for sharing that. Now, Mayank Singh Negi. Mayank Singh Negi.
Good morning,
Mayank
ma'am.
has also prepared. Yes. Good morning, Mayank.
I would like to share my opinion related education experience during the time period of this pandemic. The COVID-19 has resulted in schools shut all across the world Globally, over 1.2 billion children are out of the classroom. As a result, education has changed dramatically with the distinctive rise of e-learning. As in the normal class, school days, we got distracted by our classmates or from other activities, but in the online class, our focus is simply on it, which increases the understanding ability. Research also suggests that online learning has been shown to increase retention of information and take less time. But however, these are lots of challenges to come over. The first one is reliable internet access. Without a stable network, your class keeps on connecting again and again, which affects on our studies. And whenever class get over due to network issue before the actual time, parents start blaming us that you are not attending the class properly, isn't it? Sometimes other children come to class and play songs and spoil the entire class and go away. That's all my opinion, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayank, for sharing these opinions. It's true. Online learning has facilitated a lot of things for us, and at the same time, we realized that there were loopholes as well in this and how people were misusing the advantages of online learning. At the same time, I feel that I think I definitely learned more about technology. I definitely learned more about how to operate uh, various apps and how to download learning material for my students so that I could share them. And yes, of course, at the end of the day, I think we all miss the human interaction in terms of being physically present in a classroom. I think you all must have missed playing games with your friends and having different sport activities, even sitting and chatting with them and things like that. Those things you definitely have lost out on, but I think in the long run, you will be better for it, because I think we will also learn how to cope with different situations. And it's very important to learn, students. Life is about learning, life is about growth. And as this great institution of Rukmani Devi Jaipuria Public School, which has been formed under the auspices of the Jaipuria Trust, they have really made efforts during this particular pandemic, especially to be able to make us all aware that education is so important in our lives. They have soldiered on. This school was started in the 70s, and it was because of the philanthropic spirit to provide education at a reasonable cost. If you go to other private schools, the fees, etc., are astronomical, but here the school has attempted to make sure that learning is accessible to everyone, and at the same time at the minimum cost, so that the students can gain access to private school education without having to pay an astronomical amount for it. That is indeed a noble gesture by the Jaipuria family. They have always been involved in charitable activities such as building of temples, building of traveler guest houses where people who go on pilgrimages have had places to stay, and other social work. They have worked specifically towards helping the underprivileged, and they have really worked towards giving back to society where they have gained also. And indeed, it is a blessing that we are sitting under the umbrella of this great Jaipuria family, and at the same time being able to gain the best of education, to get the best of learning at a very reasonable cost. These things are indeed very important for us today, where we realize that education, etc., has become so expensive, sometimes even out of reach. And if you realize something, during the lockdown, many people lost their jobs, they lost the opportunities to educate themselves, they lost a lot of things. And yet education soldiered on. It did not stop. Nothing could stop them. Why? Because it was important for the children to have that learning. And so we express our gratitude also towards the school management on behalf of the entire class, in fact, on behalf of the entire institution, that people believed in the concept of online learning, because many schools did not even follow online learning, and yet the Jaipuria family soldiered on with this endeavor so that people could have learning in their house. I know many students must have faced problems with network. Many students were in far off places where perhaps network was not accessible. But wherever it was possible, the school reached out. So far, the children were reaching towards the school, but now the school reached out and brought education to the house. That in itself is a big blessing for all of us. And today also we are safe in our houses. We have God to thank for it. And at the same time, I take this opportunity to again request you all to be safe, to be healthy within your homes, to practice all kinds of social safe distancing, to be wearing masks when you step out of the house. Do not take it in a light manner, because even though the vaccine has come, it will still take time for people to be vaccinated, and you have to be careful. You have to be very careful. You have to be very sensible in this approach, where you are not making any kinds of errors or any kind of mistakes in this. All right. So now we will be playing a short video where we will hear the address of our principal, sir. Please hold on a moment. You can watch this.
On this e-annual day of our school, along with your parents. Normally on this 10th of December, every year we used to celebrate our annual day. But during this corona period, it's not possible. So we decided, why not to celebrate this annual day in the form of e-annual day. I hope all of you must be fine and in good health and following all the norms to protect yourself from corona. Maintaining 6 feet distance, covering your mouth with mask and washing your hands very frequently. 9 months back, when we started this e-platform, teachers, parents, students, everybody faced a lot of problem. That was very tough time. Then suddenly we have to switch over from one type of learning to second type, another type of totally different learning. But I am very happy to note that teachers, they worked very hard. Students and parents, they cooperated with them, and quickly we switched over from normal teaching to e-teaching. And because of that, students got a lot of benefits. Teachers, they worked very hard to maintain the standard, to prepare the videos for all of you, so that your teaching learning process is very interesting and attractive. Every month you are getting an assignment. October assignment, November assignment you already got. Now after December assignment, all of you will get back your assignment copies, which you will preserve, because in all these assignment copies, you have written a lot of answers for various questions, which are very important from the examination point of view, from revision point of view also. I hope that quickly this corona period will finish and we will be able to call you back again into the school. But before that, must continue and follow strictly the all norms to safeguard yourself from corona. Now, after a few days, the New Year is also coming. So in advance, from the RDJPS family, the Happy New Year as well as Happy e-annual day of our school. Thank you.
So as you can see, we have heard the message of our head of institution, our principal sir. And yes, I think it's a wonderful thing what he has said, that we should follow the norms of social distancing. We should be very careful how we are conducting ourselves, how we are managing, and all the things that we need to follow to stay safe. Also, students, I think there are some other children also who would like to share their views. Ria Sharma. Yes, good morning, Ria. Yes, Ria,
Good morning.
what have you prepared on this occasion of the E-Annual Day? Would you please share with the class?
Yes. Ma'am, I prepare advantages and disadvantages on virtual classes.
Okay, very good.
Greetings to one and all present here. I am extremely privileged to have this opportunity to address you all at this important moment for celebrating our 51st annual day today. I want to present a speech in front of you on virtual classes. Online study has become a trend and more schools are operating for it with each passing day, more so in the wake of COVID-19 lockdown. I want to share some advantages and disadvantages on virtual classes. The online study has several advantages. It is very convenient as both student and teachers can interact as per the convenience from their homes. The online study methods become more important in case of a natural calamity. The perfect example in this regard is the recent COVID-19. Apart from numerous advantages, the online methods of the study also present certain disadvantages. It lacks the filled with enthusiasm kinds of environment present in classroom. Teacher and student interact with each other only on subject matters on one-by-one basis. Despite the disadvantages, the online study methods prove to be beneficial in certain specific conditions. When it is not advisable to leave your home or it isn't convenient for you, then in that case, online study become a blessing in disguise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ria. And thank you for sharing this. It is true that because of this lockdown as well as the pandemic situation, the fear of contracting COVID and the coronavirus, of course, people were extra careful, and it was very important to stay within the homes because it was very, very unsafe. Even today, it's not perfectly safe, and every day we are reading the numbers that are increasing and decreasing depending on what careful steps have been taken. I would like everyone to please keep their camera switched on during the class. Kirti, Rohan, everyone, please keep your cameras on. Yes. So yeah, it's true. There is everything that has its advantages and disadvantages. However, we should not give up. And I think one thing that the coronavirus taught us was never to give up, never to let go, never to give in, but just to find other options to be able to better cope with the changing circumstances, with the changing landscape of learning. And yes, of course, I remember earlier we used to be very much against mobile phones being used in the class or in the school. But during this pandemic, I personally feel that the mobile phone turned into be a blessing, and many children were able to achieve learning because of it. So yes, we don't know how circumstances change, and here definitely they changed very quickly. All right, now we have Rohan. Yes, Rohan.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
What would you like? Good morning, Rohan. And congratulations to every student on the occasion of the 51st annual day of Rukmani Devi Jaipuriya School. Yes, Rohan, what would you like to share today?
Ma'am, I would like to share effects of education of this pandemic.
All right, that's wonderful, very relevant. Please start.
The COVID-19 pandemic has affected educational systems worldwide, leading to the near total closures of schools, universities, and colleges. Most governments around the world decided to temporarily close educational institutions in an attempt to reduce the spread of COVID. As of 30th September 2020, approximately 1.077 billion learners are currently affected due to school closures. Response to the pandemic. According to UNICEF, monitoring 53 countries are currently implementing nationwide closures and 27 are implementing local closures, impacting about 61.6% of world's students' population. 72 countries' schools are currently open. CBSE has released guidelines for the continuation of education of children with special needs. The guidelines are in continuation of the circular released by CBSE earlier, suggesting ways to cover all children, including those with no access to digital devices, for assisting them in their learning. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you for sharing your views. And yes, I do feel that it was indeed a big shock for us suddenly that the schools were closed. Initially, we thought it was only going to be for, say, 15 days to a month. But as you can see, how everything changed very, very quickly. Yes, I was looking out for Prajwal. Yes, Prajwal, what would you like to share with us today?
I would like to share my views on virtual learning.
Yes.
Virtual learning can supplement existing classes, promote inclusive learning, and maintain educational continuity in the face of long-term closures. As more educators are utilizing virtual classrooms, we can take a closer look at the advantages. In traditional learning environments, there was primarily one communication channel being used in the classroom, face-to-face communication between the teacher and student. In an effective virtual classroom, there would be multiple channels such as instant messaging, voice chat, and video conferencing. This allows students to communicate in the manner they are most comfortable while allowing the teacher to easily adapt to individual students' need. Live virtual classroom provides similar agility and responsiveness of an individual person in class. One of the biggest concerns with moving to a digital learning space is the loss of physical interaction with others. While that is a valid concern, educators don't have to sacrifice collaborative learning in digital spaces. These are several platforms that allows breakout sessions similar to work in pairs or small groups in a physical classroom. Students can also work together through share files, digital whiteboard, and many more. Thanks.
Thank you. I think these are some of the things that we have used ourselves, where we have sent and shared PPTs and we have worked together in tearing files as well as education. So yeah, it's been interesting online learning. And at the same time, I feel students should have more access to this. At the same time, I feel writing skills should not be missed. And then children should have writing practice. Okay, Abhay. Abhay is a new entrant for us this year, and I think this has been very, very different for you also, Abhay. Please share your views
Yes,
with us.
I prepare a speech on India as a growing nation.
Okay.
Yes. 21st century is going to be the Indian century. We all have heard many national and international political and economic leaders saying this many times. This is all because of rapidly increasing influence of India in practically every field around the globe in past few years. After the globalization of Indian economy. In present scenario, India is at focus of world's major issues, whether it is politics, science and technology or education, peace missions, etc. And the list of endless earlier the country that was thought to be as a land of just elephants and snakes, poverty and hunger. Now every country wants to enter in collaboration with it. just because they have realized that it is not possible to carry forward the process of world development without India having about 2.4% of world's total land area with about 16% of total world's population. So in the last, I can say that our India is becoming one of the major country in the world by enhancing its resources and started the journey of becoming developed country from developing country. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I do hope that my India is now a developed country. It's growing every day, and we are also learning so much. India can surely claim to be the next superpower, or it is already superpower in many fields, yet we still have a long way to go, the way our forefathers imagined it. And it is in tribute to this fact that the school, Rukmani Devi Jaipuria Public School, was established, because it was to help a new generation of Indians who were stepping into a new world. And at the same time, education became the most important tools of learning, as well as increasing the economic growth, as well as personal development of individuals. Education, as you all know, plays a very important role in our lives. And until we are learned, unless and until we are educated, we cannot hope to do better. And so today, if we are all sitting under the auspices of Rukmani Devi Jaipuria Public School, it is because somebody somewhere, especially our chairman, sir, Mr. MP Jaipuria, made these efforts decades ago, because he had a vision to see an educated India, to see an educated nation, to see people who are competent and capable of bringing about positive change in the nation. And this can only be possible through the reach of education, with the help of learning and educating our younger generations. Today, when you pass out and when you go out into the new world, you will find that there has been a great change in terms of technology, in terms of education. But you will have learned all this when you are in school. And so when you go out and you face these challenges, you will already be prepared for it. So the school itself is a microcosm of society, because it creates for you in a smaller version of what you will face outside in the world. But once you are out in the world, all these shackles and barriers of discipline, etc., are removed. Then you are literally on your own. But if these values have been correctly instilled in you, then you will never go wrong. You will never lose your path. And that is very important, to never lose our path in the midst of all chaos and confusion. So here, once again, I thank the authorities, the management, the principal of our school, who has always shown a beacon of hope and light to all the students and to all the staff members in terms of educating and in terms of bringing about the necessary changes and adapting to those changes which came up during the need of the pandemic. So here, once again, students, I wish you all a very, very happy annual day. And I wish you all the best on behalf of the school management, that you will be able to continue your learning further. And as you go out into this world, you will be more equipped and more capable of dealing with challenges that society will bring upon you. We will all face challenges, we will all face situations, but it is the learning that we have been instilled with, it is the values that we have been given, that will help us to cope with those situations in our lives. We become competent and are able to cope better only and only when we have the necessary skills. Otherwise, we would all be at sea. But this is very important, to have this kind of learning, to have this kind of understanding of every problem that you face. As you go forth, remember, as Principal Sir in his address has told you, that you should follow all norms of social distancing. Do not take it lightly. If you are told to wear masks, if you are told to clean your hands frequently, if you are told to be all the time vigilant in your house as far as letting strangers or visitors is, make sure that you follow those norms of social distancing, because this for a very long time is going to be our new normal. So once again, on this occasion, before I end this class, I thank all those children for being part of this, and I wish you all the very best. I hope that learning takes you further and brings you more accolades in your life. You are able to achieve better, you are able to learn much more, and you grow up into well-rounded individuals who are capable of contributing in a very positive way to the nation. You, as the future nation builders, policy makers, as people who will be responsible and who will have responsibility over other people, will be able and will be competent to do these particular roles that you are going to be entrusted with. So God bless you once again. And let us for a minute show respect for all those doctor community and warriors who have stood by this and who have contributed. In fact, sometimes some of them have also sacrificed their lives to keep the world safe. So let us salute those Corona warriors. Let us say thanks to them. And at the same time, let us pledge to build a healthy India. So thank you once again. Now I will be ending this class.